What is good, Josh on the Smooth Game Man? Back with yet another reaction video, baby. And today we are back with that anime content. Naruto, you ready? Itachi, you ready? Had to make sure my boys was right there ready for me because, Diddy. I make sure my boys are back there ready to go into this with me because today we have all Sensei and Naruto ranked and explained reaction. You know what I'm saying? But before we go ahead and jump into all that stuff, man, make sure you guys hit the video with a like, subscribe, and turn that bell on for your boy, man. So you guys can know when new videos are going out. It gets shared out to more people so we can reach that goal of 5K by the end of the year. We're so close. We're so close. So keep sharing it with friends and family of friends. If you love anime content and you know people that do love anime content, bring them over here, man. Because I feel like it's a pretty good place because we're going to give our opinions too if we agree with the ranked listing here and like the explanations of it. I feel like this is a pretty good centralized location to get good Naruto content. Now, of course, you want me to watch other anime videos too as well, or just give reviews and my opinions on anime in general that I'm currently watching, let me know down below. And I'll definitely go to give my opinions to you guys if you guys want to see it. So, with all that being said, without further ado, let's jump straight into this. All Sensei's ranked. I wonder if this means all, or how deep all we gonna be. Let's get it.
Senseis. When it comes down to it, they're as integral a part of anime as our main characters. Sometimes they're around for a long time, sometimes they die off early, sometimes they have white hair and cover their eyes. But regardless of what role these sensei fill, a lot of anime would feel empty without their presence. The guiding hand they provide or the pseudo-parental role that they take up give a lot of the anime that we love the depth and the warmth that we want. And Naruto is no exception to that rule, quite possibly being filled with more sensei than any other anime in existence. Now, this mostly has to do with Naruto's insane and mostly disjointed cast, as every single three-man squad required a sensei or a jonin. On top of this, almost every single Hokage, or just Kage in general at some point or another, was a sensei to another very important character. And because of this, within the confines of Naruto, there are dozens, if not almost 100 sensei. Characters who have
a lot of sensei, that's why
values to the next generation. Characters who have taken their unique skills and passed them down to the genin below them. And without this passing of the torch, not only would the generation that we grew up with in Naruto be significantly weaker, but we also wouldn't have got the rich backstories of Might Guy and Kakashi and Jiraiya and Kurenai and Asuma, characters we've grown to love. So today, I want to talk about the sensei of Naruto, but not in a usual way. See,
hold on, before you even get started, I gotta ask this question. Let me know down below if your favorite character is Kurenai or Asuma. Just let me know. I just need to know who will actually claiming one of those two as their favorite character in the whole show.
I want to talk about whose sensei beats another sensei in a battle. That's a video we can make at another point. Who's the strongest teacher in Naruto? But no, today I want to talk about the teaching ability of sensei in Naruto, the legacy that certain sensei left behind through their students. While the conversation about which sensei is the strongest would be invigorating, today I want to tackle the idea of which sensei was the best sensei, who raised the strongest students, who made—
Oh, okay, so now we have our clarifications for how this is going to be ranked, y'all. How well did they teach? Not how strong they are, but how well did they teach the group underneath them or the students that they had underneath them? Okay, so keep that in mind when we're ranking these. It's just about how well they taught, not how strong they are.
Made the children they were given into adults, who took the time to foster a relationship with their students to make sure that they grew up to be the most well-rounded shinobi possible. That's the question I would like to explore today, which is why today we're talking the top 10 sensei in Naruto.
Top 10.
Before we get to ranking these teachers like we're a local superintendent, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page.
Local superintendent is crazy.
Hit that noti bell. My ability to make content is super dependent on you guys, who can go ahead and follow my other YouTube channel, The Weeb Commander, where I talk about every anime that's not Naruto or Boruto. That'd be greatly appreciated. I'd also greatly appreciate if you went ahead and followed my brand new podcast that I'm doing with Danny Mata called Otaku's Anonymous, where me and him break down everything that happened in anime this week. So, teachers, how do you rate them? Every single teacher has a different teaching style, a different situation, different students. It's hard to look at one teacher and rate them on something you would rate another teacher. How can we look at a teacher who's teaching something like chemistry and a teacher who's teaching something like Spanish in the same light? They're different subjects with different curriculums and massively different levels of interest. Well, ranking sensei really is no different. Today we're going to be doing a top 10, but every single sensei on this list has a massively different situation from anyone else on this list. They were all given different different children with differing backgrounds, with different abilities that they had to adjust to try and nurture in the best way possible. And that's what I'm going to be ranking them on, their individual ability to adapt to the children given to them and foster them into well-rounded shinobi. I'm going to be less focusing on how strong the shinobi they raised turned out to be, though it will absolutely be taken into consideration, and more focus on the individual effort made by independent sensei to make sure that these children grew up into fine shinobi. So now that we got
just knowing what I've heard from him, I really feel like Kakashi about to get the short end of the stick. With all this pre-explanation, I feel like it's hinting at the fact Kakashi gonna be in the bottom 5 of this top 10 list.
the rules out of the way. I know I said it was a top 10, but I do have 3 honorable mentions.
Gosh,
since honorable mentions, I'm kind of gonna blow through. The first of the honorable mentions is Minato.
What? Minato is not even making the top 10.
Told you.
How could you put him this low?
He was not that good of a teacher. Listen, comparatively to the other sensei on this list, Minato had a very small amount of time with his team. Not to mention that the time that he did have with his team was coinciding with the Third Great Shinobi World War, which meant that for the majority of the time the team Minato was together, they were not together. As Minato was battling on the front lines of the Third Great Shinobi World War for almost the entirety of the team's formation. Basically, all we see of Team Minato being all together is the Bell Test, which obviously is a fantastic way to breed cooperation between Obito, Kakashi, and Rin, and they do eventually figure it out. However, when Team Minato competed in their first ever Chunin exams, only Kakashi was upgraded to a Chunin, and while later on off-screen both Rin and Obito were upgraded to Chunin, while Kakashi was upgraded to a Jonin, which allowed them to go on missions like the mission to Kanabi Bridge. Once again, when they were sent out on this mission, Minato was away from them, being on the front lines of the war, which is why Rin was abducted, Obito was crushed, Kakashi had to take his eye, and while obviously Minato does swoop in at the last moment to save all of them, we're not entirely sure that Minato ever taught anything to the entirety of Team Minato. I mean, obviously outside of Kakashi learning the Rasengan. However, Kakashi then tried to add lightning nature to the Rasengan and collapsed it, creating the Chidori, which he then proceeded to use over the Rasengan. So obviously Minato was instrumental in getting him one step closer to the Chidori, and also told Kakashi to not use the Chidori because it leaves him open to counterattack. But Rin dies, Obito starts the Fourth Great Shinobi World War, and sure, Kakashi grows up to be great, but Minato also told Kakashi after the death of Rin and Obito to join the Anbu, which was the worst thing for Kakashi because he was already depressed, and joining the Anbu just allowed Danzo to get his hands on Kakashi and turn him into a living human weapon. A living human weapon who couldn't protect Minato on Naruto's birthday, who then had to get yoinked out of the root by Hiruzen. The only reason I'm actually even including Minato on this list is because if I don't, people will yell at me. But he was not a good sensei. Second up on the honorable mentions list, we have Kurenai. See, Kurenai was a good sensei. Sort of. You see, Kurenai got Shino, Kiba, and Hinata. Not exactly your
not a
dream
good team.
but also about as different as Shinobi as you could possibly imagine. She got an Aburame who uses insects, a Inuzuka which uses dogs, and a Hyuga who used the Byakugan. How do you teach that? Oh yeah, Hinata, you're gonna want to practice on seeing in 360 degrees. Also, go ahead and work on that gentle fist. Kiba, go ahead and practice making a 3-headed dog with your professionally trained ninja puppy. And yeah, Shino, let's try and get more bugs inside your body today. This woman is just talented at genjutsu. Not a singular one of her genin even thinks about using genjutsu. And yet, Kurenai did a pretty good job. Shino, to this day, still hasn't lost the battle. Kiba is a famous kind of TV personality in Boruto, even though he is useless. And when Hinata was thrown out by the Hyuga family and marked as worthless, Kurenai stepped in as a pseudo-parental figure, taking Hinata under her wing, being one of the first people to believe in Hinata. And while Kurenai couldn't teach Hinata anything about Gentle Fist, her believing in her definitely helped in Hinata's growth. So for the fact that Kurenai was handed just an awful deck, she did pretty good. My last and final honorable mention is a shared spot, the 3rd/4th Raikage. We'll start with the 3rd Raikage because I like him more in also chronological order. The 3rd Raikage is one of the better sensei from outside of Konoha. He was regarded as a wielder of the perfect spear, his lightning spear, and the perfect shield, his lightning cloak. With the power of his hell stab and his impenetrable lightning cloak, he was all but undefeatable. But learning these techniques was not easy. However, because of the strength garnered by this technique, passing it down through your lineage in the Hidden Cloud is very important. On top of this, the 3rd Raikage was the wielder of Black Lightning, another incredibly powerful lightning release move, and therefore the 3rd Raikage took it upon himself to teach Darui Black Lightning, as he identified that Darui was the only person in the Hidden Cloud with enough control over his lightning release to use Black Lightning, and then took it upon himself to teach the 4th Raikage his son, Hell Stab, and the Lightning Cloak. The 4th Raikage then passed this knowledge down once again to Darui, but also to Killer Bee, training a perfect perfect partner for him to use the double lariat move. And just like that, A and Killer B became one of the most deadly duos in the entire ninja world, with Darui not too far behind, later becoming the 5th Raikage. Without the 4th Raikage stepping up into a leadership role, Killer B probably wouldn't have been nearly as powerful as he is now, as Killer B not only needed to be very mentally strong, but physically strong to control Gyuki. On top of that, Killer B had to learn how to match A's output for the double lariat exactly, otherwise they would hurt each other. And with that, we've concluded our honorable mention. Should we get into our actual list now? Coming in at our number 10 spot was
Hold on. Shout out to the honorable mention list. But gosh, dog, over a third of the videos on the honorable mention, he said we're gonna breeze through.
actually somebody who I was gonna put into our honorable mentions, but then just couldn't even conceive the idea of not having him at least in the top 10, because coming in at number 10, we have Asuma. See, Asuma being the leader of Inashika-cho was predestined, as since the beginning of Konoha, Sarutobi has been in charge of the Inashika-cho trio, giving them earrings to show their unity. However, because of this, Asuma had it pretty easy as a sensei. I mean, the formula had already been laid out for him over numerous generations. The way that an Inashika-cho trio should operate had been done before, and Asuma just had to get his current generation of Inashika-cho to that point. Use the IQ of the Nara clan member, use the size of the Akamichi clan member, and use the mind transfer technique of the Yamanaka clan member. You can get spicy with it occasionally. You can have the Nara clan member use the Akamichi clan member as a wrecking ball. You can have the Yamanaka clan member connect everybody's minds for communication that they don't have to speak out loud. But so far as nurturing power went, Asuma had a blueprint, which is more than you can say for quite literally any other sensei on this list. So when it comes down to taking credit for how strong Shikamaru, Choji, and Ino turned out being, Asuma can't really take as much of it as any other sensei. However, where Asuma makes up for it is being incredibly adept in raising these children into adults. See, while Asuma had a blueprint for how to make these children into powerful adults, he didn't have a blueprint for their personalities. I mean, sure, the Akamichi clan member is going to be hungry and the Nara clan member is not going to want to do anything, but there's no blueprint on how to interact with that. Asuma had to tackle deep personality issues with each of the members of his team. He had to make Ino care about more than just her appearance in Sasuke, turning her into a full-fledged shinobi who fought for deeper meanings than just superficial things. He had to make Choji care about things outside of barbecue, like fighting for his friends. I genuinely believe without the influence of Asuma, Choji never would have taken the tri-colored pills in the Sasuke retrieval arc. He made Choji realize that there's more important things on Earth than food. But Asuma's true greatest achievement is Shikamaru, as Asuma was a pseudo-parental figure to Shikamaru, even though he came from a relatively loving family, and they would spend hours together playing board games, and Asuma would always lose. And Asuma would use the opportunity of these board games to talk to Shikamaru and analyze how he analyzed things, which allowed Asuma to not only get closer to Shikamaru, but also allowed Asuma to pull Shikamaru out of the darkness a little bit. Shikamaru, like a lot of the Nara men, was lazy, but lazy to the point where he didn't want to do anything ever. And while Shikamaru is still sort of like this, Asuma turned him into a man who's willing to give up his laziness to help those around him. And while in the process of curing this laziness, also made Shikamaru into the greatest strategist on Earth. And while you can't give 100% of that credit to Asuma, because obviously Shikamaru's IQ is in the 200s, Asuma gave Shikamaru the motivation to be a better man. However, unfortunately, comparatively to the other sensei on this list, Asuma had a very small amount of time with his team, as Asuma is pretty much one of the first deaths in Shippuden. However, the profound effect the loss of Asuma has on the Inashika trio should show you just how close Asuma was.
Let it be known down below too. I know we interrupted, but let me know down below. Did y'all cry on that death too? I'm man enough to admit that I cried on that death.
To all of them, specifically Shikamaru, with Shikamaru actually picking up Asuma's smoking habit in the manga, only to give it up when he flicked Asuma's lighter at Hidan's body. Coming up after Asuma, we have Tsunade.
Dang, hold on. We ain't gonna talk about how he actually helped out Naruto create the Rasen Shuriken too. Without that, no lava ball Rasen Shuriken that cut down the god tree. There's no, I mean, it's one of his favorite moves. He doesn't beat Kakuzu without Asuma. He literally helped Naruto find and nurture his memories. Now, could somebody else have done it? Yeah, but Asuma's the one that did it. So I feel like we got to give him some credit for that too. Now, I mean, is he still a 10? Probably, but I feel like that factors into it.
thing. I know what you're going to say.
Tsunade only ever trained one person, and that was
She trained
Sakura.
two.
That's actually not true.
She trained
Tsunade
Tsunade,
has
didn't she?
directly trained 3 people. Sakura, Ino, and
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Shizune. And while obviously Sakura is her greatest student, Shizune and Ino are nothing to scoff at either. See, when Ino was going through a somewhat identity crisis and was trying to figure out how she wanted to become powerful, she began to train under Tsunade and learned a little bit of medical ninjutsu. And while Ino is nowhere near Sakura or Tsunade as far as medical ninjutsu knowledge goes, Ino having a little bit of medical ninjutsu knowledge massively helps the Inashikacho trio, as it was actually Tsunade who recreated the entire ninja system when she demonstrated how effective it was to have one medical ninja on every 3-man team. On top of this, Tsunade was able to nurture Shizune into one of the greatest medical ninjas on Earth. See, Shizune has the ability to create cells. It's a yin-yang release that allows Shizune to regenerate entire organs. However, she's only able to use his ability with incredibly precise chakra control. And in fact, it was Shizune who molded Hashirama's cells into an arm for Naruto. So Tsunade showing Shizune how to maximize her own potential was massively useful for the plot of Naruto moving forward. But yes, of course, her greatest accomplishment is Sakura. When Sakura was at a loss, when she saw Naruto and Sasuke become these monstrous powerhouses, she went to Tsunade for help. And Tsunade, upon realizing Sakura's precise chakra control abilities, decided to train her. And thus Sakura trained under Tsunade for 3 whole years during the time skip. And over this time, not only became incredible in medical ninjutsu, but also learned the Byakuya seal. A seal that allows Sakura to store a massive amount of chakra that she could tap into to increase her mitotic regeneration at any point, giving her access to what many call is the 100 heals seal. And with the use of Sakura's precise chakra control, Tsunade taught her a lot of things outside of medical ninjutsu and the Byakuya seal, like her ability to coat her body in precisely located chakra to deflect ninjutsu, or how to use the precise control over her own chakra network to make herself basically immune to genjutsu. And with these powers that she learned from Tsunade, not only did Sakura find the courage in herself to stand side by side with Naruto and Sasuke,
even though
but
she
also
wasn't.
found the power to battle against the likes of Kaguya with
She
no
threw one
boosts
punch.
from Hagoromo or Obito, making her
One
the only
punch.
person in that battle without Sage of Six Paths chakra. And not only
One
is Sakura
punch.
universally regarded as one of the strongest ninjas in the world, she's now one of the more likely contenders to become the 8th Hokage, and has
Hell
been running
no.
the Konoha Hospital by herself for 12 to 15 years. She has effectively taken over Tsunade's mantle as the greatest healer on Earth. And without her, Naruto and Sasuke would have died 2 to 3 times already. So the fact that
Yeah.
Tsunade not only made Sakura one of the most powerful kunoichi ever, but also taught Sakura how to feel the confidence in herself that she needed to feel as though she deserved to stand toe-to-toe with Naruto and Sasuke. Tsunade is taking our 9 spot.
So who's the
Let's
top
say we're
8?
talking
then?
about Sensei,
Okay.
who are only known for training
Ooh.
one person. Next up at number 8, we have
I was about to say, dang, guy that low as far as like impact on the character, and because we see what Lee be doing. It didn't even went down to Metal Lee, but he did kind of forget about everybody else and just kind of focused on Lee.
Mike Guy. Mike Guy was also given kind of a weird team, but at the same time, the team was also kind of perfect for him. For all intents and purposes, Mike Guy was given 3 taijutsu experts. Well, obviously 10-10 leans closer to Buki Jutsu, I believe is what it's called when you use shurikens. Neji used Gentle Fist, Rock Lee could only use taijutsu, and 10-10 only used summoning seals. They were all either using their hands or ninja tools, and that's exactly what Mike Guy does. However, Mike Guy wasn't an incredible teacher to his whole team. Well, Mike Guy tried to foster enthusiasm amongst his students and tried to make even mundane tasks into training opportunities. Only one of his students would take him up on it, and that would be Rock Lee. But once again, like any sensei who has to train a user of the Byakugan who doesn't have a Byakugan, how do you train Neji? Like, I can't see out of the back of my head. I don't know where the chakra points are. I don't know how to train you in Gentle Fist. How do you train 10-10? Hit the seals faster. Throw more kunai, which is probably why Mike Guy focused pretty singularly on Rock Lee, which is also probably why Rock Lee is the only person out of those 3 who ever became even relevantly powerful. See, like I said, Mike Guy focused very singularly on Rock Lee, teaching him the 8 gates technique, which Rock Lee mastered at a very young age, being able to open to the 5th gate, I believe, in his battle against Gaara, and being able to open all the way to the 8th gate by the time that the war arc came around. Yes, Rock Lee can open to the 8th gate. He just hasn't because he's still alive. The reason I put Mike Guy above the likes of Tsunade and Asuma, who really are one-child parents, is because Mike Guy had a lot more to accomplish when training Rock Lee. See, Mike Guy can use ninjutsu. He summons a giant turtle, but Mike Guy was given a child in Rock Lee, who definitely cannot use ninjutsu or genjutsu. A massively incredibly tall order. And not only did Might Guy give Rock Lee a personality, but he also dragged him out of a depressive state, giving him a reason to live. Might Guy was right there next to Rock Lee as Rock Lee tried to train back after his battle against Gaara. Well, Might Guy has absolutely...
And like really, if you think about it, he did it twice, because there was a time where he showed a flashback of him as a kid where he really was about to give up. You know, long before even the shooting exam state with Gaara. So he really did it 2 times. That time and then the time when, you know, Tsunade was like, you know, telling him that he couldn't be a ninja again if he went through the surgery because it might kill him. And Guy stood on business and said, look, do the surgery. If you die, I'm dying with you. Like, just to put him at ease. Like, now would he have actually killed himself? Who knows? I'm glad we didn't find out. But that's how you stand on business.
Always been trying to get Rock Lee stronger. He's also acted as a father figure for Rock Lee, giving him not only somebody to look up to, but somebody to strive to be. And not only did Might Guy make Rock Lee into one of the strongest ninjas in Konoha, he also made him into one of the better people in Konoha. Somebody who always put his neck on the line for others, like when he defended Sakura in the Chunin exams. Now, some will feel as though 7 is low for Kakashi, but I'm going to push back against that and say, it might be too high for Kakashi. Obviously, Kakashi is the leader of Team 7, but Kakashi did not do the majority of the heavy lifting for the training of Team 7. Every single one of the members of...
Actually, yeah, shit, Kakashi... If we're just talking off what they taught, should Kakashi low-key be an honorable mention and not even a top 10? Let me know in the comment section how y'all feel about that. I think maybe at least still give him 10, because he did still at least teach Chidori, and did help Sasuke, you know, what would have probably ultimately ended up in a dub in his battle in the Chunin exams had it not been actually a plot by Orochimaru to take over. But yeah, as you can see by the image right there on the screen, none of the students were taught even 75% by Kakashi. Like it's not even 50-50. It's like Jiraiya and Naruto, I'd say he probably taught Naruto. I give him a solid 10% because he was there to help out that Wind Shuriken training. Sakura, 2%. He didn't do anything for Sakura, but hit her with Genjutsu, make her realize what Genjutsu looked like. And I would say at least like 15 to 25% for Sasuke.
Team 7 eventually went to their own respective legendary Sani, where they would train for 3 years and learn all of the techniques that they use to this day. Sasuke got substantially stronger under Orochimaru. Naruto got stronger under Jiraiya. Tsunade made Sakura stronger. Kakashi really only had Team 7 for a couple of months. Obviously, they went to the Land of Waves together, and Kakashi protected all of them while battling against the likes of Zabuza and Haku. He helped foster teamwork between all of them by using the Bell test. He taught Sasuke the Chidori, which Sasuke was able to use against Gaara at the end of the Chunin exams, putting Sasuke on a level comparable to Gaara. And then obviously after the time skip, he's also instrumental in helping Naruto figure out how to create the Rasen Shuriken, but also
but didn't say anything about that for Asuma. That's crazy. Like Asuma didn't give him the idea for it.
Boils down to Naruto training to use his Jinchuriki powers. He passes the buck to Yamato, who becomes the pseudo leader of the second iteration of Team 7 when Sai joins. All in all, he doesn't accomplish that much. He failed to emotionally connect to Sasuke to the point where Sasuke believed he shouldn't leave the village.
You're really talking yourself out of the 7th spot, G.
Family-related trauma, Kakashi was about as close as you're gonna get to Sasuke. He never taught Sakura the Genjutsu he should have, and the only thing he ever did for Naruto was teach him how to add wind release to his Rasengan, which Naruto then trained with Yamato to figure out. So, like, incredible guy.
Not saying Asuma is criminal.
In anime ever, but when it comes down to being a sensei, like, nothing special. The only real reason I'm adding him to this list is because he did technically allow Sasuke and Naruto to use the Rasen Shuriken and Chidori respectively, and those are their favorite moves. Coming in at number 6, we have somebody who may not have done a lot, but also did a bunch, because coming in at number 6, we have Iruka. See, Iruka might arguably...
Underrated, though, because he's the reason that all of them even became ninja in the first place. He's taught them all the absolute basics. Like, you had to go through him to even get to the other sensei. Without him, without passing the academy, you don't get to Kakashi, Kurenai, Jiraiya, Tsunade. You don't even get to that level. So, underrated, sneaky. But I agree with this. Low-key might even be able to put him higher just because of that. Because literally without him, you don't reach the other levels. I mean, could they have put somebody else in this place? Maybe. But he's the one that did it, and that's all we know about right now. So you could probably sneak him up a little higher, actually. Maybe 1 or 2 more spots higher.
be the weakest ninja in Konoha, as he lost in a battle to a Jonin who lost in a battle to Genin Naruto. But while Iruka wasn't necessarily teaching Naruto anything in terms of ninjutsu or taijutsu or genjutsu, Iruka was the first person to believe in Naruto. See, Iruka lost his parents the night Naruto was born. Iruka, like any other person who lost their parents on the night of Naruto's birth, had a reason to hate Naruto, so far as the narrative of Naruto would like you to believe. But Iruka put aside that hate and decided to take Naruto on as a pseudo-son. Identifying that Naruto was living alone and hungry, Iruka would take money out of his own pocket to feed Naruto at the ramen shop. And outside of that, just spending time with Naruto, reverting his preconceived notions about Naruto being a monster, giving Naruto a light at the end of the tunnel when it came to all of the hate he garnered, as Naruto was feeling love for the first time since he lost his parents. Iruka was genuinely the person who set Naruto on the path to being the future Hokage, putting his own life on the line by deflecting a shuriken meant for Naruto. And outside of that, Iruka, after Naruto graduated from the ninja.
And look, how we gonna always get on Neji for being a pincushion? But ain't nobody say anything about Iruka, because low-key he did the same thing. He could have came out with like a little kunai, knocked it out the way or something. He just just took one to the back. No, did he?
Ninja Academy went on many years later to become the headmaster of said academy, molding the brains of young ninjas like Naruto every single day. Not to mention that he held Iruka in such high regards as a parental figure that he asked him to walk him down the aisle, which is something that we haven't seen from any of the previous sensei on this list, so it's big points to Iruka. Coming up at number 5, we have a relatively controversial spot, because coming up at number 5, we have Orochimaru. Listen.
I guess only 2 students. I'm not counting Anko. I mean, 3 students with Anko, but I mean, he really actually taught a lot of. No, he just took and injected or experimented on a lot of people. But he taught a lot of people. Really, just Sasuke, and did he even really teach Kabuto anything? It might only just really be Sasuke.
When it comes down to being a teacher, Orochimaru was actually a really good one. Let's just do a quick run through of all of the ninjas that Orochimaru was trained. Kimimaru.
Oh, you gotta go through the whole list right now. Wait, so he actually trained Kimimaru? Like he just experimented on them.
Sasuke, Karin, Suigetsu, Juga.
I thought he just experimented.
The Sound Village 4, Anko.
Not gonna lie, everybody he just listed except for Anko and Sasuke, I purely thought he just tested on. I didn't know he actually trained them. I thought he just gave them the curse mark and that was it. I'm not gonna lie. And I mean, let them fight each other. That's it. I didn't think that he actually personally trained them.
Oh, my boy technically even trained Shin Uchiha, and every single one of them came out substantially stronger. He taught Kimimaru how to maximize his Shunkatsu Yaku using the Curse Mark, which allowed Kimimaru to battle the likes of Gaara and Rock Lee simultaneously. He got Sasuke to a level of power where he was about to summon a Karin down onto Team 7 and kill all of them in the beginning of Shippuden. He made Sasuke so powerful that he killed Orochimaru. He taught Suigetsu relative immunity to lightning release. He taught Karin how to maximize her mind's eye of the Kagura. He taught Jugo how to deal with a massive influx of nature energy flowing into him and how to deal with the anger it gave him, teaching Jugo the limits of his ability, while also isolating this ability from Jugo and turning it into a curse mark. Not to mention, he also created Mitsuki, a perfect snake sage, and then taught Mitsuki how to be a snake sage while not being a snake sage himself. He made the Sound Village 4 kind of nobody shinobis without the power of the curse mark, some of the strongest ninjas in the early days of Naruto. Ninjas who could now push geniuses like Neji to the brink of their powers. Ninjas who made ninjas like Choji have to take the tri-colored pills simply to defeat them. Whether it be by placing a curse mark on you, or giving you a bunch of new Sharingan, or just teaching you new moves, Orochimaru is an incredible teacher. Now, will he make you a better person? Probably not. Which is why he's 5. Coming up at number 4, we have Orochimaru's best friend, Jiraiya. Jiraiya has taught a lot of.
That's criminal. I gotta see what 3 people you about to tell me are better than Jiraiya. And it's a common meme that this man out of the legendary Sadi, Tsunade taught, the 2 medical healers, the greatest healers. Orochimaru taught some great ninjas, but this man, Jiraiya, taught god level, shinobi, Pain, Conan, Naruto. I think, he was Minato's teacher too, as well. Like, trying to think, who else did he teach? And as far as making them better people, I mean, you see the effect that he had on Naruto when he passed away. He taught Naruto a lot about life too, as well. The pervy side of life too, which, I mean, I guess we can dock some negative points on, but we can't really. But 4, I feel like it's criminal. You got to tell me who's above him in the top 3.
people. Seems to be the role of the Sanin to just kind of have people fall into their laps they have to train. The first people that Jiraiya ever trained was after the Second Great Shinobi World War, when he stumbled upon the Ame orphans. Feeling guilty about what they had just done, aka destroying the entire country of the Hidden Rain, and most likely being indirectly responsible for the murdering of the Ame orphans' parents, Jiraiya decided to stay behind and train the Ame orphans. See, the true goal of Jiraiya training the Ame orphans was to train them to the point where they could defend themselves. But Jiraiya taught them a lot more than that. Jiraiya also taught them how to live. See, ironically, Jiraiya taught the Ame orphans a lot of techniques that they would apply to the Akatsuki, like the check-in system that the Ame orphans would use in their shelter, as if the Ame orphans were leaving, they would turn a piece of wood that would say they were out. This way, if any of them were abducted, those who returned to the base after would know because their piece of wood wouldn't be turned. And it was moments like these that Jiraiya taught the Ame orphans how to survive in an incredibly tough world, not only making them stronger, but more prepared for the world at hand. And as all of the Ame orphans were, well, orphans, he acted as a pseudo-parental figure for all of them. And he stayed with the Ame orphans until they were capable of defeating one of his shadow clones. At which point he kind of Irish goodbye, and he wouldn't see the Ame orphans again until they killed him. Now, obviously, the Ame orphans' descent into evil wasn't Jiraiya's fault. It was Danzo's fault. But if he had stuck around or tried to bring them to Konoha, that could have been avoided. But he wanted the orphans to be independent, and he achieved that. The next person that Jiraiya trained was Minato and the two other people in Minato's squad. Most likely Makoto Uchiha and Teiuchi, the guy who runs the ramen shop, but we just don't know. And while obviously Minato turned out to be an incredible ninja, that wasn't super up to Jiraiya. I mean, we learned during the war arc that Jiraiya obviously brought Minato to Mount Muabuko to train to be a Toad Sage, which is obviously a massive power boost for Minato. However, Minato taught Jiraiya about as much as Jiraiya taught Minato, as Minato was the person who taught Jiraiya the Rasengan, because Minato created it. Jiraiya's true influence over Minato was as a human, as Minato looked up to Jiraiya a lot. So much so that Minato was basically Jiraiya's biggest fan when it came to the novels he was writing. In fact, Minato basically used the tale of the utterly gutless shinobi as his Bible, which is why Minato went on to name his child Naruto after the main character of Jiraiya's book, making Jiraiya Naruto's godfather. It's kind of shitty that Jiraiya took 13 years to enter Naruto's life, as the role of a godfather was to step in case the parents die. But Jiraiya's true shining moment as a sensei is with Naruto, as Jiraiya not only taught Naruto the Rasengan, but also Sage Mode, like his father. And thus Jiraiya was once again reliving what he had gone through with Minato, but also imparting his father's jutsu to Naruto. Jiraiya was a passing of hands moment, from Iruka to Kakashi to Jiraiya, a man who at a very pivotal part of Naruto's life taught Naruto how to love and how to defend those around you. And while Jiraiya was a pervert and kind of unforgivable in that matter, he was also an incredible person who cared about the people around him vividly. And thus in the 3 years that Naruto and Jiraiya spent together during the time skip, and not only did Jiraiya make Naruto into a much stronger person, but also a much better one. And it's genuinely a shame we didn't get more content from this time period.
Well, if Jiraiya's number 4, Nick, who are your
top
three?
I need to see top 3.
Not gonna like it. Because coming in at number 3, we have Hiruzen Saruto.
Who does teach? I'm capping. He did teach the legendary Sanin. And I guess we can say, like, without Hiruzen, the people below them wouldn't have happened. So, all right, Hiruzen makes sense, fine. But who the other two?
Toby. Ooh, did that make you upset?
Some sensei, he left Naruto to rot in an empty apartment.
No, we're talking about all the other good he did with the world. Listen, Hiruzen was a very good sensei. He was literally the sensei to the legendary Sanin, who are 3 of the greatest senseis in Naruto. And I know you're going to say,
oh yeah, but Orochimaru ended up evil.
Not for lack of Hiruzen trying. Orochimaru was an orphan who ended up in Konoha, who Hiruzen adopted. Hiruzen raised Orochimaru from when he was young. And Hiruzen not only imparted the Will of Fire to the legendary Sanin, but also raised 3 of the strongest ninjas in Konoha's history. I mean, they were the legendary Sanin, the only people left standing in the Second Great Shinobi World War battling against Hanzo. And mind you, this was before any of their peaks, as they were only 19 to 20 years old when they were battling in the Second Great Shinobi World War. And yet, at this young age, not only did all 3 of them have monstrous summons, but they were also able to battle toe-to-toe with the likes of Hanzo, a force that deflected entire countries out of the Hidden Rain. He was able to train and facilitate the greatest medical ninja of all time, the greatest scientific mind of all time, and one of the greatest sages ever, as all 3 of the ninjas he trained were not only war heroes in the Second Great Shinobi World War, but the third. As Orochimaru led forces on the front lines, Tsunade counteracted thousands of poisons from Granny Chio, and Jiraiya became truly a universal threat to contend with. Not to mention that Hiruzen tried over and over and over again to bring Orochimaru back into the fold. Not to mention after the Third Great Shinobi World War made the elective choice to step down as Hokage to elect Minato, understanding that one of the students he raised since they were 5 or 6 years old in Orochimaru wasn't a suitable choice. But this isn't where Hiruzen stops. After Minato's death, Hiruzen actually steps back into the Hokage role and pulls Kakashi out of the Anbu because he's identifying that it's turning him into a monster. And not to mention that the root sent Yamato to kill Hiruzen, and instead of punishing Yamato, Hiruzen took Yamato under his wing, nurturing both Yamato and Kakashi to the point where they were mentally healthy enough to rejoin the regular Konoha. And say what you will about how he ruled as a Hokage, he imparted the will of fire into everybody he ruled over, including Naruto. So while hating on him is absolutely a very popular meme, I'm not standing for it. He was a very good sensei. But now
we're gonna hate him,
number
but
2 spot, because coming in at number 2, we have Tobirama's Senju. Does Nick find an excuse to put Tobirama in the higher parts of any list he creates? Maybe. But I have a reason for this. Sure, Tobirama.
Why do I feel like this is just gonna be a hierarchy? If you taught somebody great, you gotta be above them. Because I'm like, that's the only reason we put Tobirama here is because he taught Sarutobi, and then Sarutobi taught the Sannin, and then the Sannin taught Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura. Is that all we doing? Because low key, we ain't getting barely any screen time to see who this man trained. The only person we know is Sarutobi, and I guess you can kind of say Danzo, but F Danzo. So what? Number 1 is Hashirama?
Who trained Hiruzen. And sure, he was also the person who trained Homura and Koharu, who ended up being 2 of the worst people in Konoha's history. But he did train Hiruzen. And while based off the criteria that we've done elsewhere on this list, that wouldn't be enough to put him at the 2 spot, while training Hiruzen is probably one of the most important things that anybody in the history of Konoha has ever done, as Hiruzen pulled Konoha through 2 Great Shinobi World Wars, defended Konoha against Kurama on the night of Naruto's birth, and so on and so forth. Tobirama quite literally created the Ninja Academy. Without the likes of Tobirama, there wouldn't have been a system in place to raise these children into well-rounded shinobi. And therefore, the curriculum and the system that Tobirama built with the Ninja Academy allowed every sensei on this list to become the senseis they needed to be. Tobirama may not have had his hand directly in raising many children into well-rounded shinobi. He is the person that facilitated the entire system to operate, and therefore it feels silly to not place him near the top of this list. However, if we're going to look at this from an even grander perspective, we have our number 1 spot. Because coming up at our number 1 spot is Hagoromo Otsutsuki. Now, is this...
I thought this is a cop-out, cheating type of pick, bro. We got to say this man started Ninshu. This man technically started everybody, so therefore he is the greatest sensei. Like, oh my. Oh. Yeah, I'll accept it because he's technically right. I mean, by all means, he's right. If I'm making a list, I'm not putting Hagoromo on that bit though. So to me, Jiraiya is a top 3 sensei. Maybe y'all agree with it. Let me know down below. Should Hagoromo still be counted on this list? Because if that's the case, then should we give it to Kage? Because I mean, without Kage, we ain't got no Hagoromo.
This is a cop-out answer? Maybe. We know that Hagoromo was directly
Even
responsible for the training of Indra and Ashura, his 2 sons, who would go on to be 2 of the strongest people in humanity's history, with Indra being the progenitor of the Uchiha and Ashura being the progenitor of the Senju. So strong that individually they reincarnated every single generation to continue their battle for 2,000 years. Indra inherited Hagoromo's dojutsu, which Hagoromo trained him in the Yusa, while Ashura inherited Hagoromo's chakra, which Hagoromo trained him in the Yusa. And while obviously training Indra and Ashura is incredible, good for you, the true most impressive thing that Hagoromo did when it comes to being a teacher is teaching the entire world's ninshu. Hagoromo, as the Sage of Six Paths, traveled across the entire world, teaching people the spiritual half of chakra. See, chakra is composed of 2 parts, the physical energy and the spiritual energy. If you simply know the spiritual energy side, that is ninshu. This is the spiritual energy of the world that connects all living beings. However, people were able to combine this spiritual energy with their physical energy to create chakra, which they molded into ninjutsu. So indirectly, Hagoromo taught the entire world's ninjutsu, but directly taught the entire world's ninshu. Not to mention, he was also the first person to learn from the toads of Mount Muabuka. And as every reincarnation of Ashura has turned out to be a sage so far as we've seen, strong possibility that he also taught Ashura how to be a sage. Not to mention that he also created the 9-tailed beasts and taught them all to protect humanity. And while some of them got burned by humanity and started to hate them, they didn't start that way. So yeah, for the super chill act of teaching the entire world how to use chakra and ninjutsu, I'm gonna have to say Hagoromo's probably our #1 sensei. What do you guys think? Who do you think is the greatest sensei in Naruto's history?
I'm saying cop out. Just because I feel like, I mean, yeah, we know he taught the entire world, so you could have left him off. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have to include him, but I guess we'll let it slide. But let me know down below what you guys think. What would your list be? Me personally, I do, like I said, I think I was talking about moving Kakashi down, possibly at the 10th spot, if not honorable mention. Jiraiya being in my top 3, and whether or not Hagoromo should be on the list at all. And whether or not it's a cop-out just to go Jiraiya, what was I about to call that boy? Jiraiya, I almost called this man Sarutobi again. Yeah, Sarutobi and Toby Ramo. Bam, bam, bam. Is that a direct correlation? Is it a cop-out? I don't know. How would you guys weigh their teaching abilities? I feel like also we started to include impact in there, like their impact over the story rather than what they were actually teaching. Like how much of that did they do on their own? Did Sarutobi learn a lot more on his own than he learned from Toby Ramo directly? Did Toby Ramo just being a sensei over him actually create him like that? Who knows? But let me know down below what you guys think about that. Do you guys agree with the ranking explained? And we'll get into some more anime content here soon. Let me know if you guys want more anime outside of just Naruto. And I'll bring that to you, as well as like and subscribe and turn that bell on for you, boy, as you guys are on your way out the video. And I'll catch you guys in the next one, man. Naruto, you good? Itachi, you good? I'm good too. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. It's me, your boy Sean, Smooth, aka Black Avatar, King Leo. Peace.